Hi, I'm Meris, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about verbal and nonverbal communication. I'm going to be following along using our Fundamentals of Nursing flashcards. These are available on our website, leveluprn.com, if you want to grab a set for yourself. Or if you are more of a fan of digital products, I would invite you to check out Flashables, the digital version of all of our flashcards, available on demand and wherever you are. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So first up, I want to talk to you about the communication process. And although this might seem pretty straightforward, it's one of those things where if you've never really given it a lot of conscious thought, you might not have put these pieces together. So when we're talking about communication that is taking place between at least two individuals, we have this communication process that we're going to talk about. So the first one is the sender. The sender is the person who is sending the message, right? So right now, I am the sender of our interpersonal communication. So I am the one that is sending you some kind of a message, whether that is verbal or nonverbal. I am still sending you some form of a message. Now, it might surprise you to find out that the recipient is the one who receives that. They're going to be the receiver of your message there. Now, the message is just the information being sent. Right now, I'm conveying to you information about the communication process, so that is my message. But I could also be giving you some nonverbal cues that are sending different messages to you. So the point here is just that the message is whatever is the subject that is being conveyed to the receiver. Now, the channel is just how the message is being sent. So for you right now, the channel is probably YouTube or maybe our online membership. But if we were having this as an in-person conversation, then the channel would be by talking to you in an in-person setting. It could also be text-based, for instance, as an email or a text message. So the channel is just how the information is being sent. And then feedback is the receiver's response to the message being sent by the sender. So idea here is that you are going to give me feedback, and that could be written. Maybe you'll leave me a comment and tell me how much you like this video. Or if we were in person, it might be something like you nodding or saying, "Oh, that makes sense." That's going to be the feedback that you're giving me. Now let's talk about some communication levels. We have different ways that we can communicate with people. The first one is going to be intrapersonal, and that is going to be the communication that you have inside your own mind, where I know that might not sound like communication, but you are having a conversation in your own mind. I like to call it my messy roommate. I live with this messy roommate 24/7, and she loves to narrate every single thing that we're doing. She loves to find problems to solve. So right now, when you're having a conversation with the voice in your head, that is intrapersonal, your self-talk. Now, we do have a cool chicken hint here to help you remember that intrapersonal, the A stands for alone. So this is the communication happening all on your own. Now let's move up one step here and talk about interpersonal. Inter means between, so interpersonal is between two people. So this is just me having a conversation with my children this morning. You know, I pulled my daughter to the side and said, "Hey, we got to do the following things." That's interpersonal communication. It's just between me and one other person. Now we can move up one more step to small group, and small group would be conversation or any kind of communication that's taking place with a few people. So when I get both of my kids together in the morning and I say, "Okay, here's the plan of attack for today," that is small group communication. And lastly, public. This could be considered public communication right now because I'm speaking to you on a forum that could be accessed by the public. But this is just interaction with a large audience. So public speaking, teaching, giving any kind of a presentation in front of a large group, all of that would be considered to be public communication. Now, I told you earlier that oftentimes the message we send as part of our communication can be verbal or nonverbal. And nonverbal communication is going to refer to that communication which takes place regardless of the words that I am speaking. So right now, I'm communicating some things to you, whether I mean to or not. A big way that I'm doing that is with my posture. So by sitting upright and having this open posture, I'm telling you that I'm here, I'm engaged, I'm speaking to you. If my posture was more like this, this kind of tells you that I'm closed off, or maybe that I'm feeling scared or shy or any number of emotions, right? Then we can move on to expression. That's what's happening with your face. And this is, I'm speaking from experience, this is a place that a lot of nonverbal communication might take place without your even knowing it. I one time had a boss who told me, Meris, I love you very much, but I need to make sure that you know that everything you think comes across your face immediately. And I'm so glad that she did tell me that because I did not know. So your expression belies how you're feeling. Your expression is going to tell people what you're thinking and feeling. If I'm sitting here talking to you like this and I'm smiling and I'm laughing, then you get one sense of how I'm feeling. But if I'm giving you this same information and, I'm looking around and I'm kind of chewing on my lips and all of that, that gives you a totally different message, right? Another important component here is going to be eye contact. Now, I do want to put a big asterisk here and just say that not all people from all types of brain functioning, from all types of cultures, different parts of the world, not all people are going to be interested or capable of providing you with eye contact. And just when we're moving forward with this, I just want to say this is only applicable when it is applicable. Right now, I'm making eye contact with you through the camera, but if we were having a conversation, I would hopefully be speaking to you in a manner similar to this. Eye contact predominantly allows for the other person to know that I'm engaged with you, I'm listening to what you're saying, and I'm not off here thinking about something else and what am I going to make for dinner tonight, and oh gosh, should I remember to pay that bill? And so eye contact is often a very important part of your nonverbal communication. Moving right along, we're going to say gestures. I am a person who gestures a lot when she talks, and that again is just based on who I am and my upbringing. Not all people are like that, but it is important to know which gestures are appropriate and which ones may not be based on your patient's culture, background, language, etc. But again, gesturing can also help bring you in. Sometimes I'm gesturing to you to try to say, hey, focus up, right? Pay attention. That can be helpful for your patient too, but we want to make sure that we're keeping it to a minimum and that we understand what the gestures mean, not just to us, but for the person receiving them. Is it possible that nodding my head means yes in the United States, but it means something else somewhere else? Absolutely. So it's important to make sure you know your audience. Now, moving on to touch. Touch can be incredibly therapeutic at times, and it can help say a lot that I can't say with my voice. Sometimes I might not have the words, might not know what to say, but I can give that patient, a little shoulder squeeze or a little rub of their arm or something like that to let them know I'm here with you. Another huge asterisk here is that touch may not be appropriate at all times and with all people. So you really have to read the room. And of course, I would encourage you to just say, would it be okay if I gave you a hug? Would it be okay if I put my hand on your back? Something like that. Just clarify those boundaries with your patient ahead of time. And then lastly, silence. Now, silence can absolutely be therapeutic, but you need to learn that there's a difference between silence to allow a moment to land, to allow for there to be reflection and time to think of a response, and silence because I'm awkward and have no idea what to say. If my patient just said to me, I just found out that I have terminal cancer and I'm feeling really scared, that's not a great time for me to just say nothing. But when my patient and I have been talking for a long time, and then she says to me, I'm feeling really scared, I might give her a moment to then feel safe and confident proceeding with, I've been thinking a lot about, okay, that gives her that time to then proceed with the conversation. But we're not just letting people hang in awkward silences for a long time. So just use this one with a bit of caution. And we do, of course, have a cool chicken hint here to help you remember your nonverbal communication. So for effective nonverbal communication, remember your roles, ROLES, relaxed body language, open posture, lean in, eye contact, and sit squarely towards the patient, which means I'm not taking notes over here and blah, blah, blah while we're talking. I'm sitting squarely to my patient to make sure that they know that they have my full attention. All right, I'm so glad you stayed until the end because I'm going to test your knowledge of key facts provided in this video using quiz questions. How should the nurse identify communication that takes place as an interaction with one other person? Interpersonal communication. What term can be used to describe the format in which information is sent? The channel. All right, that is it for this video. Thanks so much for watching. If there's something you learned, I'd love it if you'd leave a comment and let us know. We really like seeing that. And hey, if you have a great way of remembering something that I didn't mention in this video, leave that as a comment too. I like seeing it, but I know it's beneficial to other learners as well. All right, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much and happy studying.
I invite you to subscribe to our channel and share a link with your classmates and friends in nursing school. And if you found value in this video, be sure to hit that like button and let us know what you found to be particularly helpful.